Shelley says.
Shelley said. Yeah, we're 5 minutes before education starts.
Uh, 2:54 p.m. Frankie, you do our education, please.
Let's all stand. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for the rain that you have blessed us with. We just pray, God, that you'll meet all the needs and guide and direct us in the decisions that we make today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Dick Lake.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird.
On him.
Juliet Coates. Here. Jody Fisher-Hop. Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis. Present. Hannah Gloria Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener. Curtis Snell.
Here.
Janice Taylor. Here. David Thornton.
Yeah.
Victoria Vesquez. David Walkingstick. Kara Cowan Watts.
Ani.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for approval of minutes of last month.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, on the reports, Marshall Lamb's not here. That's a big bar for him.
Good afternoon, Tribal Council.
Good afternoon.
It's great to be here with you today. Okay. You have our monthly report. Is there any questions regarding it?
Ms. Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we have a Rogers County Elder Advocate now?
We had 2 vacancies, and I think that we do have that at HR right now.
Okay, so it hasn't been filled. I was thinking it would be by this meeting.
I think they've been chosen. People have been chosen, but
And then you'll
Let's go through the
announce
process.
us their names and contact
Yes.
information.
we certainly will.
Okay, very good. And then, parents' home visits, I'm trying to remember what decipher my notes. Indian child welfare. Page number reference. I'll visit with you offline, or Nikki offline, I guess, because I'm trying to remember why I put the note the way I did.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Page 7. I'm glad you can help me out. No, that's ICW, but it doesn't, I think it has to do with what I recall is, how does Indian Child Welfare, like, are we able to support parents getting visits or helping them restore their homes? How does that work now?
Oh, yes, we have people that work with prevention and work with the families all the time. The regular caseworker for the children, they work with the families and with the mother, father, and the children also. So it just depends on what they're needing. Housing, help with housing, just any need that they come in and they assess the situation and see what they can do to help them.
But if they're at large or outside of, we are not able to provide those resources.
We do provide some resources.
Okay.
We have a lot of people that, children that are out of state, out of district as we call them, and we also have children that are just right outside our 14 county area, and we have some that we do with the state. We work with the state on that we assist, but there is some, it just individual services.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Baker?
Yes, thank you. On attorneys for adoptions, if a Cherokee child is going to be adopted outside the tribe, if the DHS is not involved in that, do we still provide legal services?
That's a tricky question. We work with the families actually, we do the placement and certification with the tribe. Now, I think that we can assist, but we don't have attorneys to assist with much on the, outside. If it's the children that we have in custody and we've been working with people all the way through, that's, we don't have attorneys to give to people or to
Okay.
refer to people.
Okay. Okay, thanks very much. Thank you.
I have a comment. So we don't provide legal counsel, but we do assist them in what?
We really probably need to refer this to Indian Child Welfare to answer this, really, Joe. Miss Lymore Baker, Baker Lymore should be the one
Think we
probably
have a-
answering that.
Would you know how that?
I know they just got a new grant and new funding, so I don't know how I'd take that into consideration in getting an answer.
Yeah, but we can
Makes a
write
difference
down,
in
I
whether
can
they-
give you, the process. I can talk to her and get the process, or have her address that with you
Okay,
at the next meeting.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I need to visit with you.
Okay. Glad to.
Lee, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you elaborate on the collaboration with the MOU with Creek Nation launch?
With launch?
Uh-huh.
That is going to be a question also for ICW because they work with the launch program. Now, our home visiting program also works with launch, though. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, on
Trying to
page
see where
11.
you're at. I think we're going to have to number these next time. Make it easier.
John Ketcher, Youth Services, juvenile first-time offender, right underneath that. It's your first year for the grant.
I think it's the next.
It's this one right here. So we have the Healing to Wellness, and we have the Bright Futures program. And you are referring to,
Underneath the parents' home visit, collaborations, number 2.
okay. I think that what that is that the Creek Nation may have the launch program also, such as we do at Cherokee Nation, and that they collaborate with them in that way, working with them on different visits.
And I know you're just starting up the process, so do you know how that will work? Yeah.
I know they work hand in hand with the other agencies because we have our home visiting program that we work hand in hand with Launch, and we attend a lot of meetings with them. So they start early on from the very beginning when they're starting to apply for the grant. So it's a partnership all the way through. So
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I guess that's it, Barbara. Good report. Thank you.
I have something additional I wanted
Okay,
to
put it on us.
report. Okay. I just wanted to let you know that we are making more changes to the monthly report. We've did a little bit of changes, but there's more to be done. We want to break it out maybe to sub-offices. And, for instance, our nutrition sites on there are not broken out to the areas that they're in, so we probably want to add those type of things for the next month. Also, the letters have went out last week for our summer cooling for the elderly and disabled. If you have any one that needs those services, we have the EIN, the Elders in Need payment, and that will be coming up in August. And that, if you recall, is the $200 payment for utilities. And also, we have at the Cherokee holiday, the Veteran Center is going to be open to the public from 10 to 3 on that Saturday. And then we will be having a Veterans Dinner from 4 to 6. Our clothing vouchers, they're in full swing. If you need another flyer on that to see any of the dates, I have those with me today. Any other questions?
Speaker?
What was our numbers the clothing vouchers last week.
I'll have to get those to you. I've received a couple of emails on those, but was it intertribal, so I'll get those for you and send those out in an email.
If you just kind of keep us updated, maybe send those to Gail so that she could send them out to all the council, so we kind of keep up with our numbers.
All right, we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In between the next report, could I amend the agenda to include under new business 3 items that have been handed out and are in front of you? A resolution certifying compliance with 24 CFR is the first one, out of Ron Quall's area. A resolution adopting standards for housing rehabilitation is the second one. And a resolution authorizing the appropriation of $250,000 of housing rehab funding for FY 2015 to match the ICDBG application. I put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Chair, we appreciate it if that could go on the council for full council tonight as well.
I'll amend my motion to include that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to be added as sponsor for both votes.
All together.
We're doing that now, I'll head myself to.
Anybody who's not on these 3 pieces of legislation would like to be added, I think, raise your hand, or thank everybody. Mr. Secretary, I wonder if I could ask a question of you. We're starting to get some ICW questions, and is that its own program now, or what? And could they come and report to us, perhaps?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. It is, we're transitioning into it being a standalone department, and the executive director of that department could appear and report. No problem. In fact, I had that discussion with her recently.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I did also have a discussion with her about putting her on the agenda. Is that what? So if, could we have her come next month, maybe talk about the Indian Child Welfare area?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okey-doke. Ron Qualls.
Oh, we were going to fight over this. Yeah. Good afternoon. Mr. Qualls is out sick today. He did manage to come in this morning just to sign a few timesheets and get those approved, but he is out sick this afternoon. He did ask us to sit in for him. I think you've got a copy of his reports, and if you got any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If I can't get you an answer today, I'll get back with you.
Councilor Buzzer.
Michael, this is my question. I guess it would go to David Pruitt, since he's over the housing program. But, Mr. Chair, I've been having several calls from people that have signed up on rehab with not a lot of success on getting the rehabilitation done on their houses, and that goes for rehabbing homes, handicap ramps, emergencies on houses. And just listening to last month's report or the month before, Mr. Pruitt had indicated that he's having trouble getting contractors on board. That's the problem with getting contractors, and I'm saying Cherokee contractors on board. I think we need to do something else to give more liberty to Mr. Pruitt to get contractors, because if you remember right, I think the new housing construction is going fairly well. I think he has contractors for that, but what I hear month to month is the rehab contracts. So I'm gonna let Mr. Paul, but David Pruitt tell us again what his problems are. But how I see it is, if we're only advertising for Cherokee, and that's how it is in the Terrell law. Cherokee first, I believe it's Native second, and then the public third. So we need to listen to this guy here, because what I understand, he told us last month he was 70 houses behind, and I don't know how many you're behind this month and how many applications you get in each month. So just give us a quick overview of what problems you're having on getting rehab done.
We're still needing contractors. We take in approximately, we approve 60 to 70 approved applications a month. That means they qualify for the program. We have approximately 80 jobs posted on the website for bid right now. Those are emergencies, housing accessibilities, and rehabs. We've awarded probably approximately 10 out of the last 60 bids that we have received back from the contractors due to the fact that there were only one bid or no bids at all on the contracts. So we're rebidding jobs over and over again because we don't have any contractors that bid on. And you're right, we are getting our new construction houses built. The contractors are really doing a good job on those. Most of those are building a 3-bedroom usually in 30 days. They turnkey one. A 2-bedroom they're building in approximately 15 days. We just need contractors.
So what I see happening here is most of his applications for rehab are emergency applications, and we're not serving those. A lot of those are elderly people that you're getting. Am I correct in saying that?
That's our priority, elderly, handicapped, and disabled.
Because a lot of them need handicap ramps, they need their doors widened or the bathroom fixed and stuff like that. So I think that's where we're failing. I believe if things were changed a little bit for Mr. Pruitt, I think he could probably get contractors. Because Terrell Law, and correct me if I'm wrong, David, Terrell Law, he bids those to only Cherokee contractors at first, Cherokee preference. There's other preferences on there, but you could be native, but you're not bidding those, are you?
They bid them for Indian preference.
The Cherokee preference is first.
Yeah, we give Cherokee preference, Terrell certified contractors. Anybody can bid. It's open to the public. But we do give preference to Indian contractors, Terrell certified contractors.
So can you tell us what would help you to get more contractors on board?
A lot of people have different suggestions. I would suggest we have to give Indian preference. Maybe lower the Indian preference to 1% and to advertise or get it out there that we can award to contractors other than Indians. If a contractor bids and he's non-Taro, non-Indian, he's low bid. If he bids twice, we can award it to him. Just with one bid, we can't. We have to bid at least twice. And they can bid now. It's just that we don't award, and everybody knows that we don't award. We use Indian preference. You know, if we let some know, I'm not sure what the answer is, but that would help, I'm sure.
My suggestion would be that we go ahead and bid it one time. On the second time, you let it out to that contractor that's low bid. And maybe do this for 6 months or a year to get these emergencies caught up, or however long it takes Mr. Pruitt to figure out that we could go back to contracting and put Indian preference on our bids. But the way it stands now, there is Indian preference on the bids. You can bid it once and then go back and bid it again. If you don't get it again, then you take whoever's low bid. What I would suggest we do to get caught up. Because listen, and I hear from elderly folks mostly that, I'm waiting on a ramp or I'm waiting on a bathroom to get fixed and stuff like that. So I think that's where we're failing. But anyway, I don't know if he can have the liberty to make those decisions on his own, or we need a motion here.
No, I think it'd have to come from higher up than me.
Well, I make a motion that we do something like that. I make a motion that he takes the bid, advertise the bid just like you're doing it. The second time that you let the lowest bid have the contract.
Just a point of clarification.
Yes, ma'am, please. Thank you.
I believe, Harley, we need to put it on next month's agenda.
Okay.
I think that would be safer than coming out of a committee report.
Sure,
And
understand.
I sure stand to be corrected, because it'll get done a lot faster if we do it the way Harley's talking about. But I think, always before, it's been, if an idea comes out of a report, generally we put it on next month's agenda. Is that everybody's
Yeah, you're correct.
understanding?
That's right.
for open meeting purposes.
Okay, we'll try to get something written up for next month.
I would suggest that we have Harley get with our attorney and write up an amendment to the Terrell law.
It's gonna have to amend the Terrell law. I don't know
I
that,
don't know about
I don't know. We had a heck of a fight to get that
Yeah.
thing implemented, Arlo.
I agree. I don't know about the Terrell
But-
law. That's a different story.
But it would have to amend the Terrell law, though. I don't know where else we would go but back to Terrell and possibly consider an emergency provision in Terrell.
If I could ask, what are the dollar amounts on some of these, like wheelchair ramps and?
Normally, the housing accessibility applications, they're anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 per job to handicap the bathroom, build the ramps. The emergencies, they just vary from $5,000 to $10,000. Anything under $5,000, just a ramp, we can call a Terrell vendor, have our estimate. As long as it's under $5,000, and say, will you do it for this dollar amount? They say yes. We do the PO and they go do the work. So those happen, we need more contractors for those under 5 too. Those happen pretty quick.
Some clarification, yeah.
Well, my question was, and I think, David, we've talked about this before, on a lot of these bids, you have no bids at all
Right,
come back.
right,
I mean, there's no competition, there's just no bids.
right. We have four contractors right now that's worked for us for a number of years that are no longer bidding right now because they have so many jobs. Some of them have 16 jobs, so there's really no need of them bidding. And the ones that are bidding, the
And if you only get one bid
prices.
the first time, you have to rebid it,
Right,
under our current rules.
right.
So there's two things for consideration here. Might be one, instead of 5,000 and under, using the phone bid process, we might up it, Harley, to a higher amount, say 10,000 or under, which would catch most of your emergencies.
Would that help a lot?
Oh, yeah, that would help tremendously.
We could probably do that without changing Terrell law, because I don't really
Well,
want to.
I think the 5,000 is in, it's not in Terrell, it's in contracting. I think the 5,000 or less is in the contracting, and we might be able to make an adjustment to that without touching Terrell.
That would sure help. Doing them 10,000 and under, just calling the contractor and having them do it.
And I
Just
think
till we
that-
get caught up, or is that something?
Well, we could put a limit on it. We could say for 1 year, we will raise that. You still are required to do, notify, is it two entities and get bids from them by phone?
Under 5, no, we just call it one Terrell vendor.
Well, what we could do here is increase it to 10, but also increase it, you gotta call at least 2 people and take the low bid of the 2 people. Just something for you to think about,
Yeah, I
Harley,
think
and maybe bring that back next month in the form of an amendment. And I think that would be an amendment not to Terrell, but to contracting, or contracting area. And then we could also put a limit, say, for the next year, to see if we could get caught up that way.
Okay, I've got Counselor Watts, Walking Stick, and Taylor in that order. Counselor Watts?
Oh, I thought you said walking sticks, so,
No,
okay.
you're first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question on COTA for page 14, Michael Lynn. Okay, so I don't think it's that bad. But don't leave, David, because you're not off the hook yet. Maybe I misread it, and I think I know what this is, but the 5 private companies providing technical assistance to citizens through COTA partnerships? I guess, what do you mean private companies, or what is that? It's on page 14 of our reports.
Second page.
Community and cultural outreach, it says 5 private companies provided technical assistance to citizens through COTA partnerships. Is that contracts and money expended? What is that?
I don't know.
Will you let us know by email?
I will find out and let.
I don't want to wait a month till the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll see what I can do to have an answer to you by email. Yes.
And then, do we have the replacement home policy and the money amount that was decided on the rehab versus replacement home? David?
In our policy, I think
Talked about it the last meeting or 2 meetings ago that you were revising the policy.
we have revised it. We're still in the process of revising it. Our current amount is 35,000. Anything that exceeds 35,000, we can recommend a replacement. It's based, we do it on a house-per-house basis. There's several people that look at the cost estimates, go out and look at the home before we recommend.
And I'm looking at your report on page 19, and we're projecting in Rogers County 34 and Tulsa 37. And you've only completed 1 each, or no, 10 each, and then there's 1, so we're way far away from our goals in our communities.
Yes, we are. We're working on that. We have several out for bid. Those 80 that are out for bid and another 60, I mean, they're scattered throughout the 14 counties.
So you still hope to achieve those goals
Yes,
for our
ma'am.
communities?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Stick?
Hey, Dave. Well, first, I appreciate you guys taking care of the elderly lady there. David called about didn't have any air conditioning. So, appreciate you. Speaker Jordan, appreciate you making those phone calls and getting that Chief Bird. What are the majority of the emergency cases that you guys are running into?
The emergency cases?
The majority, what are they? Are they roofs or handicap accessibility?
On the emergency, usually it's heating and air, hot water tanks, that type of emergency. I think the majority of them right now has been the ACs because of the weather.
Okay. I'm kind of with Harley. You know, I get quite a few phone calls, and I call you guys, and you guys are backed up. I think last year's in the budget, Speaker Jordan was bringing up about how many inspectors you guys had under your department, and it was a pretty high substantial amount. Saying that, you know, I don't know what skills that these guys have. Visiting Victoria here, and, you know, and we're reading Ron's report, and, you know, there's 4 members making a birdhouse with elders when there's only 3 people that show up. You know, I mean, I know you guys are probably trying to focus on a big picture, and Ron's not here to defend himself, but I'm not pleased with the department as a whole. I do appreciate when we call, you guys help us, you know, pretty fast, you know, on certain deals, but as a whole, I don't think we're meeting those needs. And like I said, you know, the proposal of decreasing the bid amount or increasing the amount so that people can get in there quicker might solve it. I don't know, but I'm just really concerned with these inspectors. I know some of them, and some's got some skill. I don't know the rest of them got any skill. What can you answer that? Maybe besides making birdhouses and painting.
I would say the majority of them have some skills. I'm not their direct supervisor, Dwight is.
They have carpentry skills, or what kind of skills are we talking?
Yeah, most of them have carpentry skills.
So that they can roof a house.
Mhm.
They could probably go in and renovate a bathroom, possibly. They could probably even put a ramp in, a wheelchair ramp.
I would hope they all could build a wheelchair.
Now, do you think that we're getting our bang for the buck for those 40 inspectors or 30 inspectors or whatever we have? Or, I mean, are you over these inspectors or someone else over these inspectors?
White's over them, but I'm over the whole department.
Okay. I would just like to see what our time and effort is. I don't want to micromanage, because you don't get productivity that way. But I would like to see a good product. And just hearing the other council people in here, we just need to, find a way to get on this, because there's been a lot of people with roofs, you know, they've had leaky roofs for months and months and months, and the status is that the bidding, you know, there's a problem with the bidding. You know, either they overbid the job, and so you have to start the whole bidding process all over again, and then it's just you're back to square one. But till then, you know, you got mold on the side of your house, and then you got to pretty much demolish the whole house. You know, I wish we could find some in-house solutions if we can't get these contractors going. Even if we did increase it up to 10,000, and we still don't have contractors, you know, would a solution be to do it in-house or hire more people in your department to go and meet this need? You know, I don't know. I'm just. And one more thing is, do you guys do any self-help stuff with volunteers?
We had a group in, I want to say a couple of weeks ago. CATA had a group in, and we furnished the inspectors for.
Did you?
Yeah, and we
what
also.
What about the materials?
Yeah, we furnished the
Did you?
materials on something.
Okay, good. That was so. If we have a volunteer group that wants to come and do a roof or a handicap ramp for someone in our district, is there funds available where we could set that up with these volunteers if they're skilled to do that, and if the constituents meets the eligibility requirements?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm not sure that those volunteers usually work in a 30-mile circumference of wherever they stay at. I'm not sure where they're staying at. There's some coming in next week, actually.
Yeah, there's some that are staying at Dry Creek.
Yeah.
Their community, I think Stay at Home's been kind of chauffeuring around stuff.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Chair.
Janice Taylor. Denise.
Okay, I want to go back to this emergency modification that we were talking about. My main concern is our elders that have had a stroke or something debilitating. They're dying before we're getting their wheelchair ramps in and getting their houses fixed. And so along with a dollar amount, could we have some type of wording in that emergency status? And correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the work on a wheelchair ramp or fixing the bathroom so they can get a wheelchair in there or something like that, could we use like our scholarship people that need to do some community service? Everything doesn't have to be skilled, does it, to do that?
You could use some laborers, yeah. On every job, there's laborers, so. And we like that free labor.
I'd like to see some component of emergency need so that we can get those people comfortable after they've had something traumatic happen to them.
Councilman Snell.
Yes. Under the rehab department, do you handle the replacement homes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how long, of course, I know it's probably a hard question. As a rule, how long does the replacement home take from the time you say, okay, you'll get a replacement home till start of construction?
Replacement homes are completed by date of application. From the time somebody turns in an application and it's completed, we go out and do the write-up. We get to replace usually about 15 houses per year. This year we're getting to replace 30. Last year we got to replace 50. We have probably approximately, I'd have to look to get the exact number. There's probably another 60 on there that we need to replace now. I want to say we're down, the last one we done, the application was completed in early 2000 or late 2012. So the ones that were qualified in 2013, they're still on that waiting list.
Yes, I have a constituent that's been on the waiting list for about 3 years since he said, yes, you've been approved and get a replacement home, but as of now, he has not got one.
I can take his name after this and check for you.
And another question I've got. When you make application for replacement, how does that process work? I've had a couple or three constituents that turn application in, and as quickly as 2 days later, it couldn't be found. So are there anything that we can do to eliminate that?
So they've lost the application?
Well, it was lost down here at the rehab.
I don't know what to say to that.
One incident was where one of your personnel came to the man's home, he had lost the first application. So they made out another one, hand delivered it. 2 days later, we called for an update. Well, the application had been lost.
Mr. Chair, may I add to that really quick, just give me some leniency if
Sure.
council
Go
will.
ahead.
I hear repeatedly, both for rehab and housing, both Mr. Qualls and Mr. Cooper's shop, about lost applications repeatedly. It's anecdotal, and I always try to send them in, but I hear about that a lot in my area. Thank you.
So what can we do? Can, like if it's lost 2 days later, and he hand carried it down to the office, he said, he emailed me back today, he said, application complete, I hand carried it to the office and it'll be worked on. We called the office 2 days later because it's raining, he's got a bad leak. He called and said, hey, I'm gonna get my application approved. I said, I get an update. Call in for an update, and, well, we can't find an application, we lost the application. You sure it was turned in? Well, sure, your man turned it into you.
We have a sign-in sheet at the front desk, and normally we make everybody sign in, what the deal was. I don't know, I just have to check for you, Kurt. I don't know what to
Okay.
say.
If you
Chair.
check on that, we'll chat just a minute after the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I add to his conversation just a second?
We've got a lot of ads on this one for some
Well,
reason.
no,
Go ahead, Art.
I've worked here for years and worked in water and sanitation, roads program, and sometimes the nation will send people out to do surveys. Survey is not an application. I remember back when I worked there, they did surveys, and the people did signed up on the survey, and they said, well, yeah, I need a new roof, I need a new home, I need water and sewer, and they took that as a form of an application. So I finally got some of that stopped, because we had people calling me right and left because, no, we signed up. Well, what'd you sign? Well, I signed up to get a new roof. Well, it was only a survey, and we never seen the survey. So in defense of David, I know what he's facing, because I had the same problem years ago when I was the director of the program here too. So there's just some miscommunications out there. What some of our people are actually signing a survey, or they're signing up for an application, because there's a whole lot of difference between an application and a survey. So anyway, just throw that out. There could be some problems out there also.
But most of them people know when they fill out an application and sign it, they gotta get all their P's and Q's together and turn it in, especially when it was hand carried and turned in, But anyway, that's,
I'll just say, something I tell the people that I send over or send when they fill out an application, because of the repeated lost applications, I tell them to make a copy of it. And when you take it over, you have the office stamp your copy as well as the one that they receive. That way they've got it. And theirs don't seem to get lost.
Practice. It's David, your turn, sir.
Oh, gosh, that's me. I know we've had a lot of problems with this. finding contractors, that's something that's just hard to do. I went out and tried to get people to contract. And they don't really want to take advantage of that. They're afraid of the funding, and they're afraid of the bonding, and they're afraid of the insurance. And we've got people that can do that, but that can do carpentry work and different types of work, but they won't actually take the initiative and jump in there and start their own business. And that's a process in which we need to educate and school our people on that, to do that. I think back several years ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago, we started work crews for each area. And I think that helped my area tremendously. I did a lot of emergencies in my area, and I think you know what I'm talking about, David. And we got a whole lot less calls and a whole lot more done by having a work crew there, and a work crew up here, and a work crew up north. And I saw someone that, I don't know why he took it away, but he took it away. And this is years ago. So, and I don't understand why we can't come in and use this day work program that Miss Diane has sitting back there smiling, and maybe add some funding to that to up the pay for some of those people that are skilled, because we do have skilled people in the day work program. And I think we could use that program quite a bit. It seems like to me that the Job Corps over here that Diane runs, I think they have carpentry over there. I'm not for sure. And maybe even heat and air. But it's really hard to get someone heat and air anymore when they can go out here and make $30 an hour and $40 an hour, what it is, and come back and Cherokee Nation try to get them to do something, and there's $25 an hour. And maybe we could, our heat and air is one of our biggest problems. Is there any reason we can't up that to $35 an hour instead of $25? You know, David?
That would be an HR question there. I'm not sure.
I mean, that's going to help us tremendously on heat and air if we can up it $10 more an hour. You know, back when I first started on the council, it wasn't $15 an hour, but it's going to go up. Everything's gone up. So I think we need to think about this, and Harley's made one heck of a good suggestion here as far as I'm concerned, because we've got to get those contractors, we've got to get them out there working, because we're not getting it. We've got to either change the system in the way we're doing it, or we've got to support the system and try to bring it up to par for the rest of our people, because we need to serve our people. We've got 2 people up here sitting at this desk that want nothing to do but serve our people. And they have a heart for our people, and they serve them. Last Friday, I had a person that hadn't had an air conditioner. It's going to be hot over the weekend. He was in trouble. He went down, filled out an application. I guess they finished it that evening. And that night, as far as I know, they brought an air conditioner to him. So there's somebody worked overtime there to do this. So I know our people that are working for our people, but we're going to have to make laws and change the system to where they can get something done. And that's the way I feel about it. Thank you.
Yeah. Last week, I guess it was last Wednesday, right before Intertribal, got a call from an elderly lady, and her heating and air had gone out, and made a couple of phone calls, and you guys answered a call and took care of her the next day. This was in the afternoon when we got the call. So, you guys are making a lot of, good time of taking care of our people. But like Harley said, and sometimes we just can't, we don't have enough tarot vendors out there to take care of these contracts. Let's face the fact here. We just don't have enough qualified tarot people out there to take care of all these projects that we have. And when we get into that, we can change some of this legislation. But when we get to that point where we don't have those Cherokee Indian preference people, what are we going to do there? Are we just going to prolong this and wait a little bit longer? Or are we going to give it to those qualified non-tribal people that can do the job? That's the dilemma we're in here, folks. Sometimes you can't find those tarot people. Yes, I wish we had 100%. But we just had a bid out here on our roof there at Marcoma. We waited a year to have someone to come and bid on that. Finally, we got someone to bid on that. Now it's been worked on. So, you know, it's like when you go to the dentist. I'm not going to ask if they're tarot or not. And they might not be the best in that. I want the job done. Okay? Now, I know we do this Indian preference, and I'm as much Indian as anybody here, and I want to hire our people. But we've got to have qualified people. We have to get back to training our people to do these jobs. And we've got Job Corps, we've got, we've got Technology Center here. We've got some of those programs going. But we just don't have enough tarot people out there right now. So we're going to have to make some hard decisions here with some legislation, it looks like. That's our job, to help you guys. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Dinah?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, it should not be Human Resources' decision on what we pay heat and air people.
Correct.
They don't know what heat and air people need to be paid. That should be a department decision. And we have Mr. Morton coming up to one of our meetings. I don't know whether it's today or to rules, but this body should be asking about that. Because that is one of the fallacies of the Human Resource Department, is they take more on than they really need to be taken on. They need to take these recommendations from the departments that have to find these people to work for them. And we are shortchanging heat and air people. That's why we can't get anybody employed for heat and air. We get them, we train them, we help them get a license, and then they find out they can make $10 more or $15 more on the outside, and for some reason, and I guess it is lay it at the feet of Human Resource, the department can't pay enough to keep them, and that is wrong. So we need to fix that.
Does that also include electricians and that?
It would include all of
I
your,
think it does.
your trade,
Plumbers
your journeyman. And we're looking at this wrong because we're letting Human Resource set the price, and that should not be done, and maybe we can take care of that as a body. The second suggestion, because we went through this, David, time and time again, is we have too many inspectors. Some of those inspectors need to be reorganized and regrouped into crews, and they need to go out and help us as crews. If we let out 60 jobs and we only got 10 of those, and we got 19 inspectors, folks, we got problems. And I know how the inspectors became inspectors. Y'all wanted to give them raises, and the only way you could do it, now let's just put it on the table, this was several years ago, you had carpenters, you had tradespeople that needed more money. The only way you could get them more money under Human Resource rules was to move them to inspectors. Now they believe that the only job they should do is inspecting. We need people to jump in wherever we need them until we get this crisis over with. And that means that some of these inspectors are going to have to become crews again. That's not saying give them any less money. Let's make them crews again. Let's do some of this work inside. And now you guys know I'm telling the truth, because that is exactly how you got them raises several years ago. Then for some reason, they all thought, let's just do inspecting. Well, we don't have enough jobs for that many inspectors. So these inspectors need to go back to doing some of the things that they were doing before. They need to be carpenters. They need to be some of the trades that we needed before we still need them doing that. If that means that we've got to go to human resource and say you call these guys carpenters and you pay them more money, then so be it. Or if that means that you all need to reorganize in your department, then you need to do it. We've hassled with this. Curtis was talking about he has someone that's a couple years out on getting a house. Has my guy at Peg's got his house yet? That's a 7-year wait.
I think so.
7-year wait on elderly housing, replacement home. And Janice, you were talking about people passing away before they get their help. I've been running up against that now for 7 years. We need to reorganize. People need to learn to do multiple jobs. And they need to understand that until we get through this crisis of rehab, they will do multiple jobs. Everybody needs to get with the program. If you're hired as an inspector, but we need you to do some carpenter work, be ready to do it. I mean, we've went over and over this and just never laid it out on the table. If we need to revamp your department with some legislation, then let's do it. We want to give you all a chance to revamp, but somebody's not getting the hint. So it's no longer a hint. Either revamp, make use of what you've got. We'll help you with some legislation, maybe to raise some limits. But you guys have got to show us that you're going to do everything you need to do in-house that can be done. And I'm not seeing it. And David, it's not, I know we've created a bureaucracy over there. And all the employees have got rights. They only have to do what they were hired to do, I guess. And back in the day, people all jumped in and helped get the job done. Now everybody just wants to do one little part, the part that they were hired to do. Nobody wants to jump in and help anybody else. You're going to get the opportunity one more time to reorganize, but that time is running out because I think this group, as you can see, is frustrated. And if we're going to have to reorganize by legislation, we'll do it. You may not be happy with the way it gets done, but we can reorganize you. And I don't think you want to go there. And I don't think Ron wants to go there. But you guys need to get cracking. You can't be 100 emergencies behind. Because 99 of these people may not be here next week if they have a heat stroke because they don't have air and heat. Now that's just my comments. I'm frustrated, yes, because I've sat here for 7 years and talked about this very same thing, and now everyone's talking about this, and it's getting to a crisis. And your staff needs to understand, and I appreciate all their work. I appreciate your work. You're very, very good when I call to try to get right on it. But you can't be the only one doing that. Everybody in your department's got to do that. Everybody's got to pitch in, and let's get through and work through this backlog and get you caught up. That's my 2 cents.
Lee, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. And I do thank you for all the work that you have done thus far. And I know that it maybe look at it in a different way as far as a project management standpoint. We were just handed a construction resources for our clinics, and I know this is different, but I know it can be done. So I'm looking at the consultant. They're non-Taro. HVAC is non-Taro. Plumbing is non-Taro. Millwork is non-Taro. Hollow and metal doors is non-Taro. Aluminum storefront and glazing is non-Taro. Building specialties, etc. So if you look at it as a project rather than maybe case-by-case basis, maybe that might be an avenue to go down or explore as far as one big project. I don't know if you can do it or not, but one big project and apply that dollar to the one big project and then piece it out that way. I don't know if that's something you consider or not. It's something to think about. You don't have to give me an answer, but it's just something to consider. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else? I think so. Okay, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
David, would you check on that one house? I'm
Yes, ma'am.
determined to see that gentleman get his house before something happens to him.
I'll check.
Mr. Cooper?
Excuse me. Good afternoon. I know y'all are running a little bit behind, but I had several notes here, but I will try to stick with the most important ones. College housing applications will be accepted August 1st through the 15th. Those applications are already available in our offices and online at hacn.org or through the Cherokee Nation website. So anyone who wants to get a head start on those applications can do so, and we'll begin accepting them in our office August 1st through the 15th.
Through the what?
College housing.
Through August 1st.
Oh, through the 15th.
Is that for the fall semester?
Yeah, for the fall semester. We used to take them the first part of July, but we pushed that back a little bit because a lot of people doesn't get to know exactly for sure what they want to do or whatever the case may be. Might not make it up here to until they're coming into Northeastern to enroll or whatever the case is, or Rogers State or wherever they might be going. So we're going to do it that way. Negotiated rulemaking. Last month we had a really good session. We began our 5th session the end of this month, and we hope that we can continue the momentum that we built up last month as we move into session 5 and 6. Those are the 2 sessions that HUD has scheduled this month and next month. We did make good progress, and we hope to continue to make good progress on that. As I'm sure probably all of you have heard, we have a new HUD secretary that was confirmed by the Senate last week. So we look forward to working with him. And then, of course, Secretary Donovan was confirmed as Director of OMB by the Senate last week. So he'll be moving over to OMB, and we hope to work with him. Assistant Secretary Enriquez, we had our last negotiated rule meeting with her last month. Her fill-in was there, the lady who's going to be the acting for the time being, and then hopefully whenever the new secretary actually steps into his new office, I'm sure that he'll work to name a replacement for her. One other thing that I wanted to mention is this month we are beginning to work on making some minor changes to see if we can't open up a majority of our offices out there in all of your areas. We have offices out there already, so we want to take some steps to make those offices accessible, make our staff accessible there for you, so you don't have to worry about saying, well, there's an office right down there at Veneta, for instance, but I think someone's only there, a couple of days a week. Someone will be there every day. Whenever we kind of get all of that worked out, we'll be visiting with each of you separately and let you know when that's going to be, when you can expect someone there, so you can just point your constituents directly down there so we can help out. I think those are the main things that I wanted to be sure to mention. So with that, does anyone have any questions?
Ms. Watts?
Thank you. Is there just no way to keep people in trust status with their homes? We're just always going to ask them to remove that trust or restricted status?
In order for us to be able to build, yes, absolutely. I mean, there's no other way around it.
You saw the federal regs where I sent where there's exceptions to be able to do that. That's the way I read it. Didn't I send that to you?
I believe so, but that's going to be a question that I think our Attorney General is going to have to answer for you.
You can't put that forward and ask him to give an opinion for that?
I can certainly try, but I think the biggest thing, especially since we take out a 184 loan on them, on those houses, is without certain codes on the book, certain statutes and laws. passed by you all. I don't think that we have the ability to do that.
So I would ask that, I'd work with Diane Barker Harold and you and AG's office, that we'd try to figure out those codes to make that happen, instead of losing restricted land.
Okay, we can,
So I'd like to work with you to do that. And then,
I know that that's come up several years ago, and it never happened, so we don't have any choice.
I'd like to try again.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, so that'll be an agenda item. I don't know if it'll be next month, but it may be 2 months or 3 months from now, to see if we could get codes on our books, in order to stop removing individuals' restricted status of their land just so we can build a home on it. Because there's federal law that allows for that to be done and still have a mortgage.
I think I'm going to need an interpretation from the Attorney General, or all of us are, before I could understand that. Would that be correct, Gary?
Yes, so we're talking about that we would
I
start the
believe-
dialogue and the discussion, and I'd like to lead
Yeah.
that effort.
I don't know. Diane's here. We may want to. I don't know. It's going to take an interpretation from
Yes.
someone other than me.
Yes, you can.
You know, that was the intent years ago when we first started building these mutual health homes.
Absolutely.
We called those, was that take the land out of restriction status so you could get the loan. And then I thought our people were told, once the house was paid off, that we would apply and get the restriction back. But I don't think that's ever happened.
And at one time, that is what was supposed to happen.
Yes.
Is they were supposed to be able to take
Sure.
that back in, and of course I could be wrong. I'm only speaking from my own knowledge, but I don't know of one time that actually happening where the BIA has taken that back.
For the land to go back into restriction status once you've taken off restriction status? I mean,
Mr. Chairman, I'm asking that I would lead an effort to make sure bringing this back to committee, and it sounds like maybe legislation, but there's other stuff that, before we get there, because I don't think we can answer it today.
You'd like to put it
We're
on
definitely
the
behind.
agenda for
Could we
next
put it
month?
on the agenda for next month, even if I asked to table it? And I'll work with them.
First issue may be what the federal law is, because we can't.
I sent the federal law to the exception that allows for it to Gary.
Well, it was actually to Todd. I think I got a copy of it too, but I'm going to.
Oh, I apologize if I didn't send that to you. My
I
apologies.
think I got a copy of it. You may have sent me a
Okay.
copy, but
Okay,
if
but
I'm
we
not,
can't solve it here is my
No,
point.
no,
But I
no.
would like it on the, you said you'd put it on the agenda, thank you. So this kind of begs the question of the house, do we have like what I call a housing inventory? Like, there was a question that somebody had put forward about a house that was sitting empty, and we were trying to identify it so that you could see if it was somehow a home that could be reallocated, or what had happened to that. Do we, if in some sense, have an address and a status or history of every home we've, built?
only homes that are still currently under management. Once they pay off, we
don't have an old
don't.
inventory, we don't even say, we built this home at XYZ at
Yeah,
one point?
we would know if we built a home or not. Now, to some extent, because you have to realize too that in a lot of areas, addresses have changed. So it may be we have an old route and box number, and a lot of times I'll ask, do you know? I know some folks have asked me before, what do you know, maybe who used to live there, because I can look it up by name. But to say that this house sitting right here, a lot of times that's really hard to identify. And I know that it's came up too in a couple of places where they say, oh, well, that's old house that Housing Authority built. No, it actually wasn't. It was a FHA home.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure now on the lending, on the approved mortgage,
Mhm.
you can't force a bank
No,
to do that process.
absolutely not.
Because there has been some that went to foreclose and lost the house and could not foreclose because of some unusual things happening with the mortgage approval process.
Yeah.
So there is a problem on finding banks to do
There.
that.
there
I
is.
thought we were the bank.
No.
No, we have a loan on each one of those houses with another bank.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering that.
Anyone else? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Ah.
Michael, you're back.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I will make this brief. Again, I think you have our report from the Roads Department, but I do have about 6 or 8 items I would like to make mention. Just briefly, we have recently completed the Nycut South project in Adair and Sequoyah County. Thumbs up from Chief Byrd. We are working on scheduling a ribbon cutting ceremony on that. I've been in conversations with Councilor Fulbright as well as the Cherokee Nation Communications Department, so we're working on that. The Sequoyah High School intersection should be starting this week. They moved some equipment in late last week, and they should be out starting this week. I think they had hoped to start today, but it may be as late as tomorrow. Wycliffe Creek Bridge in Mays County, just outside of Salina, should be starting within a week to 10 days. We had a pre-construction meeting on that last week. The Kenwood bridges on that same stretch of road in Delaware County are under construction currently. 10 Killer School Road is here in Cherokee County. Utilities are being moved now. I think we like telephone and water. Water's out to bid right now, but those should be moved, relocated this summer, and we hope to have a construction contract on that by fall to early winter. Northeast Fort Gibson project, we held a public meeting on that last week to kick off our right-of-way acquisition process. Speaker Jordan was able to attend that with us, had a huge turnout, far greater than I expected. There's actually 129 parcels on that project. It's a real heavily populated road project. That doesn't mean there's 129 landowners necessarily. I don't want to miss any misunderstanding. There's just 129 individual parcels that our folks will have to acquire before we can begin moving utilities and start on the construction project. But that is underway right now. And then lastly, I want to mention in Mays County, a project called Chimney Rock Hollow. It's an extension to a project that the county built here off of State Highway 82 around the pumpback area and that water reservoir. But anyhow, Chimney Rock Hollow water reservoir, that will be extending that on over towards the community of Rose. And that project, we're going to hold a public meeting on July 24th. A real preliminary meeting. It's what we call our 30% plan meeting. They've just got some preliminary plans available. We'll show the public what's going on, what is entailed, and allow them to ask questions. And we really won't be talking about right-of-way or anything of that nature, but it just kind of should bring the public up to speed on where we're at. That's all I had to report. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
David?
Did you mention Moonshine Highway?
I did not mention Moonshine. It's in design. It's still. I know we've got it out to a consultant engineer who is looking at that, but it is in the design process.
Do you have any idea?
No, I don't have a construction date yet, but I don't anticipate it being too far off. Last I knew, we were just going to be overlaying that. Not sure about cross drain replacements though. If there's any cross drain replacements, it could delay the overlay a little bit.
Is Dwight Mission Road still on the
It's still on the list, yes, sir. I did get an update from Commissioner Carter, who was trying to apply for funding through the state. He contact me last week, and that funding was not approved or denied, whatever word we want to use. He's going to continue to seek additional funding that was kind of the agreement we had with Sequoyah County, is that they would provide a little bit of match money to our money to get that project funded. I think in the end it'll still get built regardless of what happens, but he is going to continue to pursue funding from the state.
Thank you.
Dinah?
Michael, where are we on the Mud Valley Road project?
It's still in the early design phases. I mean,
What do you project time-wise as to when we might go somewhere on the creek?
well, I mean, it's still, like I said, it's real early in the design. We've got to go through the environmental process still yet. It could be 3 years.
There's so many bicycles and runners.
I see them daily.
It's gonna get hard if we don't keep working on that in a diligent manner.
Okay.
There's just not enough room for the cars, the runners, and the bicycle people. Nobody went to Jones Road to do those things. They're all still using Mud Valley. So I don't know if there's a way to move it a little faster, but we are gonna have some problems out there if we don't do something.
Okay. we'll see what we can do to get it expedited. Yes, ma'am.
Janelle?
Thank you. I want to commend you and your group for the wonderful road at NICUT. It's just top notch in every way. Everybody's so proud of it. It cuts off time, you know, so many people travel this way to school or the hospital, and that's the best way to go, and it's just wonderful. So we're anxious to have a ribbon cutting ceremony, and I'm hoping to have some kind of little function there at the community building to serve sandwiches and chips or something the day that we do it, when the chief and the deputy can come down, and you and your group.
Very good.
Wonderful road.
If I may, Mr. Chair, appreciate the comments, but for those in Adair County, the rock fence road got tore up in the construction of that road. Frankie's shaking her head here. I want to let everyone know that we are looking into how to get that repaired. It took a pretty good beating hauling, I think virtually all the construction traffic come in and out through Rock Fence Road, which is a previous project that we had built years ago. Councilor Buzzard was in my position. But I want to let everybody know we are looking in how to fix that, and we don't want to tear up one to fix another.
Chief Bird says we tore Frankie's road up to fix his. I don't know. We might have a fight going here in a minute.
It wasn't that bad.
Let's see. Excuse me, Harley. You had the next question.
Just a quick question. On Leach Kenneman Road, I see you have a Zone A, Zone A issue. What is the Zone A?
It's flood zone A. It's in the area, drainage area that's in question here is in a flood zone A, and it's in order to bring it up to FEMA standards, so to speak, it would require a tremendous drainage structure to be installed there. I mean, far greater than what's there now. We are trying to work with the flood zone administrator in Delaware County to try to get an exemption or a waiver to that, so that we can I guess our options now are either to leave the cross drain in as it is, which we know it's not sized adequately, or it's either deteriorating and needs replaced, or to install, construct a drainage structure that meets the flood zone A requirements, which is going to be extremely expensive, based on what I've been told, because of the size of the structure, and we don't really feel like it's necessary because of the drainage area that it does drain. So we're trying to get a waiver or an exemption through the floodplain administrator there. We're dealing with a similar situation in Mays County as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else? Denise?
I want to talk about the CNG buses just a minute. Are we setting out plans for where we're going to fuel those, the ones that don't come back here every night?
Yes.
Plan? Okay.
Yes, we work with the agencies that'll be operating them, and make sure before we hand the keys over, so to speak, that they do have means to fill them up every day. Yes, most definitely.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Appreciate it. Hannah Knight. Good afternoon.
You do have a copy of my report, I hope, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I did want to point out that we have about 370 MAP applications right now. We received 340 of them from the Housing Authority that were in various stages of processing. So we've gotten some calls from a few of you about where people are at in the process, and we've tried to, at this point, we should have contacted everyone either by phone or by mail, letting them know, and we're trying to make sure that we have all the information that we need and get those processed as quickly as possible. Also, we've included some additional MAP household statistics. I'm not real happy with how we came up with the average increase in credit scores. that also includes people who were mortgage ready, so it's not an accurate depiction of how people really increase their credit scores, but just some statistics on the average MAP. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Ms. Watts?
Thank you. I think the map numbers you were gonna bring to us, like over the years, you were gonna get that to us. I don't remember seeing that in the report.
I'm sorry, I must have. And can you remind me again exactly what?
How many map homes we've, by year, since we created the program?
By year since we created the program. Okay, I apologize for that. We'll get those to you and emailed out.
And we don't have to wait a month?
No.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The HAC and the Housing Authority, Cherokee Nation, do they still have the loans of older homes, like the ones that have gone in foreclosure? How does that work with you taking over the mortgage assistance program?
If the mortgage assistance was provided under the housing authority and they have the lien on it, then they handle any foreclosure.
Okay, so they'll have a set of foreclosures, and then you have your set of foreclosures.
Right.
Right. Okay. From here on, theirs will diminish and yours will increase. Not increase, but.
The numbers, not the percentages.
Right,
but
right.
the numbers,
Thank you.
yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, we had no old business, but we do have these 3 resolutions as new business. Speaker, could someone make a motion just to send them all 3 at once, I wonder? Is that possible?
I had them added onto the agenda all together. If you would like to take them all at one time, I'll be glad to present them as such.
Let's try that, see if that works.
We have 3 resolutions that are in front of you that were added to the agenda. The first one is a resolution certifying compliance with 24 CFR. I believe Ms. Crawford is also here to answer any questions. Reba, would you come on up to the table? The second one is I've got them out of kilter here, a resolution adopting standards for housing rehabilitation. And the third is a resolution authorizing the appropriation of $250,000 of housing rehabilitation funding for FY 2015 to match the ICDBG application, which I think is probably the one you're here for. Okay. These are all before you. I would put those all 3 in the form of a motion and ask for your consideration.
Second.
Ms. Watts?
Thank you. We just got these on our desk, so I didn't recall if I had seen this by email or not, but where's the proof on the outreach to citizens online?
If you look on the website, we use the website for that now, and it's posted on there. And we actually have one more citizen meeting, which is the 23rd, where people can come in. They also have phone numbers to call. They don't have to come to a meeting. They can just call if they want to and give us input as well.
So there's no requirements to publish in the Cherokee Phoenix or anything?
No.
Okay.
We can publish on the
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it.
Any other questions?
And that motion would also be to go to full council tonight.
Second, okay. Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain. Abstain.
Abstain? Julia abstain? Let's see, where we at? Any announcements? Okay. Seeing none, accept the motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.